Food processing plants are mysteriously exploding and catching fire across the United States. We have lost some 100 plants just within a year's time, and the media wants you to believe that it is a big coincidence. Google even has all the top search results calling it a crazy conspiracy, while also admitting these food plants did get destroyed. It's just a big coincidence, right? One of the main reasons the egg prices are going up is because the government is slaughtering chickens and shutting down farms all over the country. This, coupled with a new GMO feed that makes chickens stop laying eggs, has caused a major crisis. I'm going to explain the details of why food prices, particularly eggs, are exploding. I have to start out getting you into the right frame of mind to even understand why these things are occurring. You see, the people in power want you dead. They don't need you, and they worship either the actual devil or some other evil entity. Now, I can hear some of you saying, I don't believe in God. Well, that's irrelevant. Think of them as radical Muslims. Whether you believe in Allah or not, you can agree there is a religion out there that will kill you for Allah. These Epstein Island devil worshippers are far worse than any mainstream religion. They're more extreme than any sect of Islam and believe in human sacrifice. Play devil's advocate with this for a second. All of a sudden, every seemingly incompetent move the US government does makes sense. Oh, all the food is poison, the water is poison, all the prices rising, all the virus response was incompetent, World War III is imminent, and the response from the government is to do more of the same. It is on purpose to kill people. There is a lot of precedent for this in human history. The Mayans had a human sacrifice religion, so did the Thuggees in India. They were a murderous cult that worshipped Kali. It's where the term thug comes from. Anyway, let's get back to the concrete facts of why our food prices are shooting through the roof, and why you should look into getting storable food, water, and starting a backyard farm of some kind. Prices are rising due to inflation in every sector, but you may have noticed that the price of eggs has risen roughly 400% since 2021. The average price back then was $1.79 for a dozen eggs, and now it is close to $8. This is far beyond the increase in other items such as clothing or water, so inflation is not the only cause. One problem is that the FDA is slaughtering entire farms of chickens. They show up to large chicken farms and test them for bird flu. If their test detects even one chicken as positive, they order the entire flock of chickens to be slaughtered. Thousands are being killed. This is insane for multiple reasons. For one, these PCR tests could have false positives. This is a known problem with the PCR test. Even if there are legitimate H1N1 cases in the farms, why is the answer to slaughter thousands of chickens? Why not just give them antibiotics, then let their bodies fight it out and get immunity? That's the problem with these three-letter regulatory agencies. They have too much power, and you as the business owner have no options but to comply. The other major issue affecting the egg supply is GMO chicken feed. There are a lot of videos from farmers saying their chickens are not laying eggs with regular chicken feed. This could be another attempt to sabotage the egg supply. Though egg laying does naturally slow down in the winter, they are claiming it is abnormal. The main culprit is the brand Producer's Pride, which is sold in tractor stores across the country. Their formula was recently altered, and people notice their chickens can no longer lay eggs. Those farmers using organic feed or giving them table scraps are reporting their chickens are still laying eggs just fine. There is speculation the chicken feed has been spiked with RNA. Whether true or not, an animal's fertility is affected by what it eats. If experienced chicken owners notice a problem, I tend to believe them. Eggs are a superfood and amazing for your immune system. That may also be a reason that egg production is being attacked. Then there are all the mysterious fires and explosions. We just lost 100,000 chickens in a food plant fire in Connecticut. Cause unknown, of course. A plane crashed into a General Mills plant and burned the whole thing down in 2022. Then another plane crashed into an Idaho food plant and burned that to the ground as well. Then a boiler exploded in Oregon and burned down a potato production plant. Fertilizer plants are also burning down. Tons of fertilizer has been lost, which obviously affects crop growth. These stories go on and on. It feels like a coordinated terrorist attack. Some suspect Antifa has a hand in this, but organic businesses have burned down as well. I think they are a good suspect for the power plant attacks we have had. It's more likely the government is engaged in siege warfare against the US populace. Think about it this way. If a foreign country wanted to attack the US, they would blow up our gas pipelines, our weapons factories, our power plants, and our food production. Then they would disarm US citizens in the land invasion phase. But the US government, through the EPA, FDA, and ATF, is doing exactly that. They turned off our gas pipelines and banned new oil drilling in the US to raise gas prices. The EPA keeps turning off our legitimate power plants and condemns us to inadequate wind and solar power. Rolling blackouts plague cities because the EPA keeps banning clean coal. The ATF is constantly trying to take our guns, and now the food plants are all burning down. The farms are getting legally destroyed by edict from the FDA. It's insane. What is the difference between an invading tyrannical government and the tyranny of the US government? I also don't think it is a coincidence that it's being announced AI will replace basically every job out there. From doctors and lawyers to drivers and writers, magically all the AI comes out at once. They are saying all supermodels and actors will be AI generated as well. What jobs will be left? Even food will be made and farmed by robots. All of this is the concept of buck breaking. It is a slave owner's tactic to break a person's will and make them compliant. A slave would be whipped, abused, sexually assaulted, whatever was needed to make them comply. This is ancient knowledge dating back to Romans who owned white slaves and wrote all this down in texts. The early Americans did not make this up. Now Western governments are using this knowledge of control against you. They want to take your job, your home, your health, your family, and your pride in your work. This also ties into the push to get us all to eat bugs. Ground up cricket flour is already legal in the UK and is inside frozen pizza, cookies, and crackers. It is in the US as well. Deceptively, companies do not announce that the food contains bugs on the front of the package, but hide it in the ingredients. This is also part of breaking you. Eating bugs isn't just degrading, but also cancerous. Your stomach is not like a lizard's or bird's. You cannot properly digest an insect's carapace. I think the answer to all this is to get strong. Grow your own food, raise your own chickens and rabbits. Be ready to get fired from your job and survive. You may need to find a cheaper area to live in. Have storable water and food. Above all, have no fear. We are likely going to live through some insane times. Just remember that when you stare down your enemy and refuse to submit no matter what the cost, you will find your humanity.